Yo, what's going on, guys? GMGM, I'm SMS, and welcome to Solana Made Simple, powered by Zeus Network. This is episode 3, Staking with Marinade Finance, and we're going to be hosted with Jules and Gravy, which is behind the scenes. Shout out to the homie, and special guest Nikki from Marinade Finance. But before we get into that, we got a quick topic list from Jules over here about some, ongoing topics in the market. If you want to, kind of tap into them and bring up some of the highlights, go ahead.
ZMZM, yeah, just kind of going over every week, just what's happening in markets. Doesn't have to be necessarily just crypto, could be TradFi, anything that's kind of correlated there. So in the last week, we did see President Trump officially sign the executive order opening the $12.5 trillion 401k retirement market to crypto investments. So obviously, again, bringing in more and more people to the opening that up, I guess, to crypto, especially in, I would say, in 2026, obviously, but clearly bullish news there. Next up was a little surprising to me. 63% of the S&P 500 companies beat earnings expectations by at least a standard deviation this last quarter, highest percentage in 4 years, excluding the post-pandemic recovery. That actually marks the best quarter in at least 25 years. So by comparison, the long-term average is actually like 48%. So to be all the way up to 63%. So again, kind of like you saw with the pandemic, when things go poorly, obviously there's always going to be some recovery. And so that's what we're seeing now. Probably
Right.
why we see the liquidity and things like that as high as it is, even for the summer. So again, really bullish news there. Only 10% of firms missed estimates by that one standard deviation. So that's the lowest share in a year and below the long-term average of 13%. So either way, again, earnings momentum very strong. Again, great for the markets as we go towards Q4. So fun one here. $3 billion YouTube competitor Rumble says it's going to integrate the Bitcoin Lightning Network for tips.
That's interesting.
Very, very good, obviously, again. So more usage, just more use cases again for Bitcoin. Obviously, I think we would all agree that they should probably take another look at some other things other than just the Bitcoin Lightning Network itself. But
Yeah, seriously.
obviously,
I think there's better options.
Easier ways to use your Bitcoin out there. I also maybe would, they could always explore other things like Solana, whatever. So,
Right.
But it's a nice start.
Yeah.
Another. I'm sorry. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
One other fun thing that a lot of to go towards Solana here. Pre-stocks launched on Solana. That just happened, I believe, this last week.
Yeah.
End of last week.
Yeah, I was taking a look at that. I saw Discord was on there and a couple other pre-IPO stocks that were available, tokenized,
Exactly.
which is
so. For
cool.
those who don't know what that is, you're trading pre-IPOs.
Yeah.
So I guess the narrative behind that would be that everyone's like, okay, well, the TradFi gets into these IPOs and then they dump on retail, of course.
Yeah. Yep.
Now we've got our own, I guess we'll call it degen version of being able to trade.
Now, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, you can only imagine how that's going to go, right?
Exactly. So, but to start, I would assume it should go fairly well. But anyway, they've teamed up with Jupiter also, so you can trade there as well.
I say that with a little bit of joking, because the nature of the space, but at the same time, you're bringing a little bit maturity and you're bringing a little bit more of a stronger, I guess, investing thesis with traditional finance and people that are looking at it on that end, having it tokenized. I think that's what we get excited about. But I think that just overall starts to bring a bigger picture together and showing that this isn't just for the degens and this niche thing that we have found ourselves in, but it's growing. I mean, it's pretty clear. Most of the topics you had, they were all pretty much tapping into TradFi and bringing that into the decentralized networks and ecosystem. So that's extremely bullish. I mean, even when prices go down, when you hear the conversation and the sentiment start talking about these kind of things, there's still bullish sentiment in the air. And I don't even really care about the price at that point, because it's like, it's probably just accumulating at this point. But no, those are some really good topics. And you got anything else you want to add before we bring in the guest of the hour?
That was it for the news for the week.
All right, sweet. Well, Guys, real quick, a quick list or topic list. We're going to be talking about why you want to stake Sol, liquid versus native, and how Marinade is shaping Solana in 2005. But before we get to that and bring Nikki up on stage, we got a quick break from our sponsor. Alrighty, shout out to the Zeus Network, and we're going to be bringing up Nikki. He is the rep from Marinade Finance. What's going on, Nikki? How you doing this morning, brother? GM.
Well, first off, we're on the wrong camera, so let me fix that.
Take your time, brother.
Easy.
There we go.
We was looking at camera 1, camera 2. You know, we got a big setup here, but no, we're fixed. We're in it. What's up, guys?
Good morning, man. It's good to have you.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Did anybody get that espresso to you?
I didn't know. I have not had a coffee yet. I'm not a morning person. I usually am the guy where thoughts come to me at like 1 a.m. and I'm like messaging our Marinade Slack channel. Like, we got to do this. We got to do that. And like,
I feel you.
The prog guys are obviously asleep at that point. It's late into the middle of the night.
Well, I definitely appreciate you making the time. I know this isn't, the time that everybody wants to be there, but it hits a couple different, time zones for us. So we do make it happen that way. It is recorded for the people that are still sleeping because I can't blame them on that one. But we do appreciate you taking the time again, man. This is going to be a fun conversation. I think people are getting a little bit more excited about just staking in general and seeing the opportunities and what's going on, seeing the TVL, the metrics, some of the conversation as far as governance. We're going to tap into a couple different things. I know you're kind of limited on time, but is there anything specific you kind of wanted to talk about? Feel free to bring that up first. But if you can give us a quick background and tell us a little bit about your role with Marinade Finance before we get into it, that'd be sick.
Yeah, happy to. You want Marinade background or mine more?
Your background, and we'll just talk more about Marinade, and they kind of put that together themselves.
Okay, we'll do my background first. So I've been in this space since 2021. Started as a hobby, right? Buy a little Sol here and there, buy a little ETH here and there. I'm a collector at heart. I look around me and I'm borderline embarrassed at Magic cards, Pokemon cards, figures. I can't. I'm like something about a man and his cave full of stuff, right? It's like primal almost. But I'm definitely a collector at heart. And so NFTs, I had a soft spot for them and got really into that. I was having so much fun in Solana, specifically in the community that was there, that I tried to find a project I could help a ton with. So I reached out to the DAA guys. That somehow, I don't remember how, led to a job offer. I left a very real, professional, safe job to go work in NFTs in Solana, which is crazy, but I'm so thankful that I jumped at that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Between then and now, at some point in there, I became a consultant and started consulting on the BD strategy ecosystem side of things for a ton of different projects. Ended up consulting Marinade for a little while, which then turned into a full-time role, which worked out nice because I will say I always had an interest in staking specifically, especially for someone who is deep into the ecosystem. When I'd see people, playing the roulette wheel a little bit more, I always just had my soul staked the whole time. I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, it's fun to watch people win and lose, but like my stuff was always just staked. Yeah. And whatever wasn't staked, NFT buy immediately, money.
Right.
Like that was no self-control there. I was like, NFTs purchased.
Well, that's the power of staking, I think. Right there is it protects your bag. That's the underlying number one thing I try to tell people. I'm like, this is, if you don't understand anything else, understand this will protect your assets and your bag. It's a good way to put it in an idle position, but it's going to reward you. But if you want to keep getting into how that led into you becoming the BD over at Marinade Finance, it'd be kind of cool to see how that transition happened.
Yeah, happy to. So once I started consulting, it was already BD strategy, partnerships, ecosystem side of things. I'm very lucky and thankful to have met essentially every team on Solana. I kind of pride myself in that it's like I'm always one, sometimes two, layers of my network from talking to any team within an hour, right? So that's kind of where like my skill set lies. And that was something that I think Marinade felt like they could improve on. They've been here for 4 years, but they were very building focused team and less on the like partnerships integration side of things. So I tried to fill that gap a bit, and I mean it's been incredible. It's really nice to go somewhere that wasn't doing as much in the in the area that I operate, because when you start like lower, like when you start closer to zero in that section, it's easy to make like massive impact early, which is so rewarding. I mean, just seeing how much Marinade is being talked about now, masses as compared to what it was is.
I think there's power in being more of value than, you're a success story for yourself, of value for the whole ecosystem. And it sounds like that's kind of what you, encapsulate and brought into the picture when it comes to Marinade and solving an answer and providing a solution for things. It goes a lot further than just trying to raise the price. And I think that that's something that people in this space that are looking for a future or a career or something like that, when you start to look at the scope of, what are my skill sets? What are my strengths? What can I bring to the table? What can I add? And how can I grow and, help the other party grow as well? And I think that's like a 2-punch combo for, for a good success story and at least, a starting position. So that sounds pretty cool. Finding your way into there, finding the Solana ecosystem. I think it kind of starts with NFTs. That's where we really found these communities kind of built out. Is that something that you saw, like the transition from your area, being in the business development, talking to these projects, communities, and seeing the strength within the NFT core, how that kind of spilled over to the staking side? Because I don't think a lot of people understood finance getting into NFTs, but once they saw staking and there was opportunities to do things with that DeFi related, I think that really started to pick up a little bit more, stemming from the ecosystem, Solana NFT specifically.
So what I've seen is that there are two things, I'll say three, like there are two things that you can have, right? It's like you can have this good product with lots of like Solana support, Solana Foundation support, whatever, and then you can have attention. And like they're both, as crazy as it is, attention is just as important as like this incredible changing finance forever product. So where NFTs came in, and I hate to talk too much about NFTs, but like where NFTs came in was like and why I was able to talk to so many amazing teams. It's like, why are they talking to the cartoon JPEG guys, right? Because they had these incredible products, and it's like, we need users, we need attention, we need creativity, we need this, we need that, and that's what what you could bring. So like, I was lucky enough, as I said, to talk to like incredible builders making like absolutely game-changing products, like talking directly to the Solana Foundation, because it's like they like the attention with NFT stuff too. So it was just a very unique position where when you have something that has a lot of attention and is very fun, it's like people want to work with you, right? And now it's cool because it's like, now I work for a team where the product speaks for itself, right? Like it's so much history there, and it's proven. So people are like ready to give that attention. They just need a reason to, right? It's like, oh, we've heard of Marinade. We know it exists. We know it's OG. We know the product's solid. But it's like, are they loud enough? Like, why am I like, what's new from them, right? So bringing some of that like NFT energy with, still like an institutional level professionalism there built in, sort of, and like combining the two. And that's where you kind of create this perfect mesh where it's like, okay, more people are seeing it, more people are staking, more people are making safer decisions for their soul, right? And it's sort of, we try to create a situation where staking is a hyper competitive space, right? Because there's only so much soul to get staked, but we try to help be a part of like the idea that a lot of the DeFi activity everyone should have a mix of staking in that, right?
I agree. I mean, that was the thesis when it came to NFTs. Can we stake our NFTs before we had, some of the things, the rails that we have available today? But let's get into staking a little bit. Let's dive into, some of the aspects of that for the people that are a little bit more new to it. Something I found in just, some of my recent content, some of the spaces and streams I've been on, explaining why staking matters and what it does for the network. It's surprising to me how many people haven't taken the time to read through documents and do that. But do you want to talk about why staking SOL and what it does for the network, so people kind of have a good understanding, I guess, basically beginner level entry understanding of what staking does?
Yeah, happy to do so. Just want to make sure, are you also getting a time for this, or am I just taking all of your time?
No, you got plenty of time.
We're good there.
Yeah, all good. Okay, just want to make sure I'm not talking too much here. So, as everyone mostly knows, right, Solana is proof of stake. Essentially, the network is operated by validators, right? There are thousands of validators that are geographically located across the world, which is actually significant. That matters. You do not want all the validators, in one server farm. That is too concentrated, and that is much more higher risk for the network. So lots of validators operated by lots of different people, lots of different professional teams, geographically spread far and wide. People have heard of blocks and transactions and all that jazz, and I'm going to try to keep it to a little bit more of a less complex level. But basically, it's transactions are coming in, and the validators are pinging them around, confirming that these transactions are valid. Think about it as like an order book, right? Like you open up an order book, and it's like these transactions come in, and they're getting ordered by the validators, and they're getting confirmed again by multiple validators in multiple locations. SMS sent Nikki this much bonk. Nikki sent Jules, this much ZBTC, right? Like all of that is getting confirmed on the ledger. An epoch ends, and then you people can either unstake or restake their SOL, and you turn the page to the next epoch, right? These validators, they are getting rewarded with Solana inflation, right? Based on how much SOL they have voting on these transactions. So how much SOL is confirming transactions. Now, obviously, for like three of us, we're likely not running a server out of our house, right? Or don't have the time to run our own validator or whatever, but we have Solana that has voting rights that are not being used. So it's like, okay, I can basically make a deal with validator X over here and say, hey, I will not give you my SOL, but I will delegate the voting rights of my SOL to you, so you can use them on your validator to vote and approve transactions. And then when you are rewarded with Solana's yearly inflation, which gets paid out every epoch, I want my cut. Now, that's essentially, that like bespoke deal is essentially what's happening without you realizing it. Like you're making a deal with them to lend them your voting rights, and they're paying you for that. And if you're not participating, then Solana is inflating the same way every other asset inflates without you, right? So it's like, imagine if every time the US, and sorry for non-US audiences, but I know all countries print more money. If every time the US prints money from the big money printer, which is happening every month, instead of just giving it to themselves, they distributed it to everyone who had their money staked in a bank. So it's like, my money is in a bank, it's safe and secure and staked. We've just printed another $20 billion because you have your money safely in a bank. We will distribute the entirety of that $20 billion to people that have their money in the bank. That's essentially what's happening with Solana. You need an inflation mechanic. You need to have a reason to run a validator, and this is it. So that's the deal that's happening. So
Gotcha. And then that kind of makes me think of the SAM situation, the staking auction marketplace. That's kind of where this kicks in to pick the very best validators, right?
Yeah. So where Marinade is a little bit unique is we're not running any nodes, right? A node is just, I don't know, I think it's a fancier way to say validator. It makes you sound cool. It's like running.
I've always wondered that too, because I'm like, what's a node? What's a validator? What's the difference here? But
yeah. You're
I found
just
that out
running
too.
A validator. It's like because when you run is basically like you're setting up a server and whatever. It's we're such dorks, man. You're trying to sound, you try to make whatever you can sound cool, right? So it's like, okay, we're running a node. Yeah, so we don't run any nodes. Very cool. We don't run any validators, which is pretty unique. The company that's the most similar to us would be like a Jito, for instance. So essentially, someone just commented, I have a node and my own cloud. Yeah, you're a dork. I love you and you power the network and I love it. And I work with validators all day and we're all nerdy in our own way. But yeah, like running a node and running a validator, just, yeah, I really, like I said, I really do love you for it. And, but we are so nerdy for sure. So essentially we're a place where we're redelegating Sol. So not to make it sound more complex, but it's like, you're not giving your Sol voting rights to us. You're delegating your Sol to us and giving us permission to redelegate it. So, we have about 11 million Sol that is delegated to us, or the voting rights of it is delegated to us. We then have a competition. It's an auction, but I like to call it a competition, right? It's like, it's the spirit of competition. Hundreds of validators come in and say, hey, this is the APY that I'm willing to pay, right? And if you're willing to beat me, that's fine. I won't get any Sol, but this is what I'm willing to pay. Some people come in 8%, 9%, 10%, whatever. And because for some people, the profit margins matter less, right? Sometimes people just want to have an extra 150K Sol on their validator. Sometimes, even if I'm making a couple $1,000s off of this, hey, it's Sol I wasn't going to have anyway. So it's able to be extremely competitive with that in mind. Every epoch, you have your winners selected. Sol is then our Sol 11 million Sol is delegated to these validators, and then you earn high APY. It's like it's sort of like you have an agent constantly working to make sure that your Sol is staked,
right?
Whomever would earn you the highest APY.
Gotcha. And I think
there are a lot of examples similar to that, right? In the real world.
Yeah, it's fighting for the best price. It's fighting for, it's actually going to work, not just sitting there. It's finding the best opportunity that's available for you there. Now, is there a difference for anybody listening with liquid and staking when it comes to using the, that SAM? Has that changed the process, or is that the same exact thing with MSOL and, the native staking?
APYs can differentiate for a lot of more complex reasons. Just know that, like, even whenever people like teams show you APY, a lot of times they're guessing, and it fluctuates a ton. And like, there are sites that you can go to that you're checking APY that I'm like are just flat out wrong, and they don't mean to be. Like, it's not a matter, it's just like a complex thing to track. The point of saying this is, so we have MSOL, which is our liquid staking token, and we have our native staking. They're both powered by the stake auction marketplace.
Okay.
But APY will differentiate from the two. Like, sometimes one will be higher than the other, etc.
Gotcha.
For liquid staking, it's really just a smart contract tied to native staking. That's all it is. It's a smart contract that is pegging a token price, right, to Sol. So it's like, okay, instead of the inflation getting directly paid to you every epoch like it is in native, the inflation is going into the price of the liquid staking token. So you have MSOL. There's also all of our competitors have LSTs now as well. Thanks to Sanctum, now it feels like everyone has an LST, which we get annoyed, right? Because they're a good competitor and they get lots of business. But in reality, I'd much rather have people messing around in LSTs than in the casinos, right? So it's still a win for everyone, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You have a smart contract, which basically just links native staked Sol to a pegged token. The value of that token goes up over time to reflect inflation, basically leaking into the liquid staking token. So you're earning Sol, even if it's not as obvious that you are, because once you swap that LST back to Sol, you're gonna
have more.
Yeah. So that's how that works. And when you have something like MSOL, you can then go and play around with it more. You have more.
Well, that's where I want to get to at the next point. Some of the Marinade's offering is MSOL for DeFi use, and I was actually playing around looking at the different opportunities. If you go on Marinade Finance, guys, you can check out their website. There's actually a cookbook that'll give you all the different opportunities that are available on the different protocols and platforms on Solana. That's something that I was diving into and just seeing the different ways that you can stack and start looping things around and really taking advantage of the DeFi. For me being more of a 9 to 5 guy that was working construction forever, I didn't understand much about finance and how you could stretch a dollar. And to your point, getting into NFTs, that was fun. But once I saw that there was staking options where I can, protect my bag, I can put funds away. And it's one of those things where you set it, forget it, and just let it ride. And, you're constantly, gaining rewards on that. What are some of the better opportunities for the DeFi use with MSOL right now, with Marinade?
So if you're looking to earn additional, right, my two personal favorites, and I promise this is not biased, but you can go to Zeus protocol and stake your MSOL and earn ZBTC. We love the idea. Sorry, I'm retweeting the space from the main account. 1 second.
No, you're good.
Finish this one. What's the post that I should retweet?
The
live one. Yeah, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. I can see myself as I'm reposting it. Repost. So we love the idea of, this is maybe cliche or sounds a little lame, but we want to make staking more fun and more dignified to try to bring attention to something positive. So the idea of staking for Bitcoin or staking for other assets, but specifically Bitcoin, it's fun and engaging. It gives someone who says okay, let's say someone who has 200 SOL that they've been playing around with and are looking for something to constantly have their attention.
Yeah.
And then you see, then they see it's oh, I can swap this to MSOL and then stake it with Zeus and earn ZBTC. That's interesting. That's fun. That's new.
Right.
So that will get them and protect them from themselves, right? And then start earning them Bitcoin, which is, Bitcoin is currently probably feels like an unobtainable asset for many people. It feels like the train has come and gone. It's too expensive. It's what's the point of buying 10% of a Bitcoin right now? Is kind of how, it's probably how a lot of people with less disposable income feel. It's hey, I can just slow drip into this and just earn it through staking. It feels a lot more obtainable and reachable. So that's one that I like a lot with MSOL. The other one is, I'll call it Camino Plus, right? So there's a Camino then plus a lot of their competitors who have really good products as well. But going there and that's more on the APY farming side of things. I personally don't do a ton of it, but it's if you want a low risk way to put your LSTs to work, that's how to do it. I'm so unbelievably risk averse and don't like to play with anything where I'm just I'd rather just native stake and forget it. But I mean, with something like Camino, there's years and years of trust and background and history.
They're super reliable. That's that's the one that I was looking at the multiply aspect, and you can put your MSOL into there, which is pretty fun. So if you guys don't know about that, do your own research and take a look on the Camino's protocol, how you can take advantage of some of these opportunities. Stake your soul, get the MSOL, go over there and see what's available. Again, on the website, it's a cookbook. It has a breakdown of everything that is available. But Jules, I haven't heard much from you. I'm kind of curious about your take as far as the BTC Soul and that partnership, being that you are with the Zeus working group. That's something that I walked into and I was like, well, to Nikki's point, I have always felt like I'm behind on Bitcoin, but there is a little bit of reassurance seeing the institutional investments and interest in participation. But when I saw that the BTC Soul came out, they had the 200%, plus the 2% with Marinade, I staked it over there and took advantage of that because you can add to it and it starts to accumulate and dollar cost average yourself and grow your pile as you're, trying to play catch up, so to speak. But I think it's a great way. I broke down a beginner's guide on, if you were allocating $1,000, if you had 30% of stake Solana, I put half into BTC Soul, half into regular, native staking, just because it gives you a little bit more exposure. But what's your, I guess your take on that and experience as far as using the BTC Soul and stuff like that, Jules? What do you think about that? And how do you think that that's going to affect going into the broader markets?
Yeah, and again, I mean, this just kind of, and Nikki already kind of touched on this, is generally, I mean, you're trying to, you could sit here and argue that, oh, I feel like I'm late. It's a, 120,000, BTC right now. But I mean, we've talked about this before. I remember saying the same thing when it was 30,000 or 20, you know what I mean? So it's you can say that, but like, I mean, it's going up. So like either way, like if you have the long-term vision to want to DCA into things, just like you would for any bit of your funds, then yeah, why not? You can go ahead, grab MSOL, and go ahead and go to Sol BTC Sol, and you're gonna get like X amount of percentage into a form of Bitcoin, essentially. So on Solana, and so yeah, it's just an easy way to accumulate. I mean, that's the easiest way to say it, obviously, and I think we're all basically saying that why not. The point, I mean, you should always be DCAing into things anyway. So like,
right.
That's I mean, having the mindset of, oh, I'm too late is exactly how you never end up DCAing into things, how you never end up taking profits, how you never end up doing any of those things. So again, for me, it would be just simply, I feel like I always want to have a planned portfolio of various different aspects. And of course, Bitcoin should be, I'm sure, what most people would call the end game.
Yeah.
Maybe you call Sol, like that's where my focus is, and that's fine too. But like most people are still going to want to have some Bitcoin. Maybe some users are trying to DCA for as long as they can to get to 1 Bitcoin. So I mean, that's just
right.
And hope Bitcoin hits $1 million.
Yeah,
but,
I agree with that take right there. I think a lot of people are chasing to try to get their bag of it. I mean, hey, everybody's got their own opinions and their takes on how they want to go about it. I think the main point is, finding ways to make this interesting. The most comparable thing to traditional finance is a high yield savings account. Obviously there's differences because there's no volatility and, less of a return on your investment there, but it's the closest thing that I can make relatable to the average person, where it's like, well, what do I do when I get to Solana? Well, that's where I start to explain to them, well, there are options that, you can start to stack to your BTC, but there's something special about Marinade Finance that we have is called the Marinade recipes. You want to talk a little bit about that and how that kind of brings a little bit more excitement and a little bit more variety to the staking, Nikki?
Yeah, sure. Can you say that again?
Yeah, I was just talking about the Marinade recipes, how it brings a little bit more interest and excitement to the kind of rewards you can get from staking. When things are boring, people are like, well, I want something a little bit more life to it. And to your point with the BTC, people are excited because it's like, oh, I can catch up on my bag doing this. That's great. But with recipes, that offers a couple different options where you have stable options where you have a little bit more volatile, and then you have ecosystem coins where you can catch up on those bags. You want to talk a little bit more about how that is going to be rolled out and how people can take advantage of it?
Well, let me get into like how we can try to make this more fun and engaging, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's doing things like staking for Bitcoin, like with Zeus. We're also rolling out Marinade recipes, which is allowing you to stake right within the Marinade app and earn from a bunch of different partners that we have. But basically, you're DCAing into a bunch of different ecosystem tokens, or there's some meme coins in there as well. More gamified, more fun stuff, right? Also, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we view, funny enough, MNDE, which is our governance token, is very old. It's been around for a long time, and we're now viewing it as a way to bring engagement and fun to Marinade, and in a pretty much a much more traditional way. We're trying to do, and you can look, you follow our X account to kind of keep track of all these sweeping changes that are happening right now. But it's all about aligning incentives, and it's like, right, if you are staked on Marinade and you have any MNDE, it's like the idea that, hey, I can feel like I'm a part of this. It's like every time I see Marinade with a bullish announcement, having it positively affect me, and at least maybe once or twice a week, you're checking in on Marinade's TVL. How are they doing? They have new integrations coming. They have new ETFs coming. Like, what's TVL look like? Or recipes coming out. Knowing that it's like, okay, as the company makes more revenue now, that revenue goes to the to the MNDE treasury. Right, it goes right to the DAO treasury, and then 50% of that is used for buybacks of the token. Again, this is not necessarily like unique. But it's how you go about it that I think the process is going to be unique. Meaning, like, the whole point of it is to be engaging and fun and align incentives. and give a reason for people to spend time with us here, doing activities that are, they can feel good about and they know that are increasing their bags.
For sure. I think that's a good point and topic to tap into the Marinade token. One of the proposals that was recently rolled out was burning up to 10% of that. And then somebody kind of countered that with up to 50% of the this total supply being burnt. Is that something, you've been getting a lot of excitement about? I mean, I've heard some people kind of come to me and ask me about that. I'm excited about it, but it was just a funny timing because I was looking at the token. I was like, man, these guys have been around forever. It's been scraping along the bottom, but then these announcements come out. You want to tap into that and talk a little bit about that burn back or the burning?
So again, a burn is something that happens for a lot of different, tokens. It's a governance token, so people can put forward whatever they want, right? And we want to encourage that. So it's like
for the proposals, right?
Someone wants to propose a 5% burn, or they want to propose a 50% burn. Go ahead. If it gets voted on and passed, that's what we do. For us, that's exciting because it's gamified. It makes people excited and feel like they have control and are a part of this overall, OG protocol in Solana. That's what we want. Do I hope we burn 50%? No, that's a lot. A nice 5 to 10% burn, yeah, epic. That's fun. That's exciting. But you know what I mean? That's what happens. We'll be fine either way.
I like it though. I like that people are taking initiative and they're getting excited to use their governance. We've seen success with ASR, and I know that Vu was just kind of alluding and hinting at that's something that we're looking into. For people that don't know, you want to talk a little bit about that program or how that's kind of going to be rolled out for stakers for Marinade token?
Which program? Sorry.
The ASR.
Oh yeah, so just the active staking reward. So
active staking reward.
If you are participating in voting right now, you're locking MNDE for 30 days and voting, which people still do. But it's like, why am I doing this? So we're going to have a pretty hefty vault of MNDE that is going to be spread evenly amongst people who are voting based on how much they're voting with. So there's a pool, and you basically are accumulating points for voting. So it's like, how much MNDE did I vote with this year? And then you'll get from the pool for that.
Is that the thing that there's the 25 million Marinade allocated to? Is that the pool?
No, that's Migrate. The Migrate campaign is different.
Gotcha.
We have too many things going on. In a good way. It's a lot to keep track of. But Migrate is the 25 million pool. Anyone over a certain period of time that migrates stake from a different stake account to Marinade. Now, there's an institutional side to this, and then there's also the self-serve web app side of this. Mm-hmm. Basically, you'll get 10 MNDE for every one soul migrated.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's not bad. All right, so I mean, I don't want to take up all your time. I know you have stuff going on, but I do want to tap into this because you did kind of say at the institutional side of things, the ETFs and the excitement around that, knowing that Marinade has filed for the Canary Capital ETF, I believe, quite a bit ago. It's one of the front runners. You want to talk about a little bit about that before we wrap things up with you here?
Perfect. This is a great spot to end it. And then I get my coffee, which is very
I appreciate you, Nikki. I don't know if I'd want to do this without coffee.
Sorry, Raposa guys. I don't have any right now. I promise I would order some. I got to be a man of my word. I got to order some more. So we have Canary Capital filed for an ETF. It is now officially called the Canary Capital Marinade Staking ETF, right? Nice. So essentially, anyone buying Solana through this ETF, it's automatically staked in Marinade. It's incredible. I don't know what else to say. These staking ETFs are amazing. I think they've already lost a little bit of their luster just because there's been a bunch that have been announced now, but come on, Solana was almost dead. You know what I mean? And now we have staking ETFs that people are drooling over, ready to get into. You know what I mean? Because there's so many.
I'm with you 100%. Seeing just coming from more of a traditional finance background and learning that before I got into crypto, when you start to see that side of things swinging over here and just watching oh, okay, it's cooking over here. Seeing Kathy Woods talking a little bit about it, you're seeing the eyes, the attention, the participation. All of this is starting to pick up more and more and more. We're seeing more more than ever that people want to be parking their finances over here. And to me, talking about Marinade Finance and a way to use it, why you want to use it, the different things that are appealing as far as tools, because staking is a tool. Staking is an instrument, in my opinion. And, when you look at traditional finance, you don't have that many options, tools, and things available. You have a very rudimentary, basic, things that are there. But most people, they don't save their money as it is. They don't know how to use the tools, and that's the biggest problem. And I think that that's one of the things that me being kind of on both sides of this, where I have a little bit more traditional, background and working a 9-to-5 saving, and then learning this aspect of things, teaching people that, anybody can get involved. That's the decentralized nature of crypto. And this is something that, long term, and I try to explain what APY and APR is, because I realized 2 years ago, people have no idea what these things are. They just see the letters, they see the percentages, they think they're going to get these returns. And it's like, no, you have to really build a portfolio. This is a longer game. But, I definitely think that there's a lot more in the pipeline where people will be excited and finding that they can secure the bag. I think people get tired of losing to meme coins. So even the people that win on meme coins, they come over and they're like, I got the Solana. What do I do with it now? Like it's just sitting here, and that's where it.
I'm gonna hop off, but like, so ironic is that, like, yes, people are getting wrecked in meme coin, but meme coin trading boosts APY on staking. Right? It's more network activity. So there's a deep irony to that. When meme coin trading was like at an all-time high, like the best staking services were offering like near 13% APY, and it wasn't like bullshit boosted APY. It was like legitimately that's how much they were paying out, because there was so much MEV coming in from all the meme coin trading. So it's like all these people are getting wrecked, and the people who are taking zero risk are getting even higher APY. So it's like, and again, that's why this has just been the way I've always been. So I'm just kind of like laughing, where it's like, oh, someone's like, oh, I'm down, 4, 5, 6 figures on a meme coin. I'm like, I'm getting 13% staking because you're down on your meme coin.
Yeah, thank you for being down, and my bags are safely protected over here. It's definitely a good way to protect yourself. You made a post about this, a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, is the best way I could protect myself from, meme coins and just trading in general, is staking your Solana. And it's as simple as that. It's, if you want to play the gamble, you want to play in the casino, take some money to the casino, but leave the rest at home in a bag and keep it safe. Let it work for itself. I mean, we got a lot of different options. We covered it. If you guys don't mind, please repost this, get some more eyes and ears on here. There's a lot of value and alpha in this. But Nikki, if there's anything you wanted to close with, go ahead and take the time. Other than that, be on your day. I appreciate you, and we'll bring you back in a few weeks or so, see how things are going, and get us caught up to speed.
Yeah, nothing else to close with. I am on the Soulflare Spaces with Quicks next week, maybe on Monday, something like that. So I guess look out for that. Be probably a lot of the similar topics. I think me and Quicks are gonna stake some soul on Marinade live.
Nice.
So that should be fun.
You guys are doing the live stream, right? You said.
Say that again.
You guys are doing the live stream.
Is that what they do?
Yeah. No, I wasn't sure if you're doing a space or a live stream with Soulflare.
I think it's a live stream. It's gonna be like this, but like I think Quicks is gonna have like a screen share up, and we're gonna be on
nice.
around and all
right.
that.
I'm definitely gonna be checking that out. I love what they got going on over there. The community's definitely thriving, and it's a lot of fun to hang out with those guys.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you so much for having me, guys. How do I mean this? How do I get out of here? What's the leave?
No, you're stuck with us forever. Sorry about your luck. No, you just we'll take you off the stage here. But again, thanks a lot for all of your time here and talking a little bit about Marinade and Steak, getting people a little bit more acquainted with it. But Gravy will take you out of the backstage. We're going to take a quick break and show you guys a little clip from Marinade Finance themselves.
Cheers, guys. See ya.
I was glued to the charts. Every dip felt like the bottom. Every pump, just the beginning. But it never was. I lost sleep. I lost some soul. Then, I lost myself. Until I didn't. There was another way. I didn't have to chase green candles. I could make my soul work for me. Marinade staking. Instead of betting on meme coins, validators were competing for my stake. Hundreds of them. competing for the highest rewards. But not everyone gets my stake. Only the best earn it. No downtime, no shortcuts. Sam automatically delegates my stake to the top validators. Miss the APY threshold? No stake. Underperform? Bonds protect my rewards. And the best part? It works for both liquid and native staking. It's time to stop playing the game and start stacking wins. Minimize risk, maximize rewards. Marinade Staking.
Alrighty, welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning back into Solana Made Simple, powered by Zeus Network. That was Marinade Finance. We were talking a little bit about staking on Solana with Nikki. He's the head of business development over there. But we're back with Jules and kind of do a little bit of a recap, maybe take a little bit of some charts. Pretty good conversation. I think there was a lot that most people don't know about because it's on a base layer. You just see the post, you scan through it. But I think that was a good deep dive into things. A couple like highlights that I have saved right here. So exclusive staking provider for Canary Capital staking ETF. We kind of covered that there. We also have integrated with BitGo for institutional SOL can migrate to Marinade native. And then you have that bonus for the MND token. I think it was 10-1, if I remember correctly. There was an active governance. We talked. What's that? 10-1?
It was 10-1.
Then there was the burn proposal up to 50%. Like we were talking about, likely it would probably be a little bit lower, but it's crazy that people are talking about doing that. As far as the network and the TVL growth, the TVL is now at 2.6 billion in stake SOL, up from 2. That's not up, that's down actually. But yeah, we're up to 2.6 billion in stake SOL. APY 7.6% with bonus programs pushing it higher, and transparency joining with Blockworks token transparency framework and getting a 37 out of 40 score is a big deal, because that shows that there's trust, reliability. It shows that institutionals can park their money here. It shows that other companies that are switching over to Solana treasuries, they can start looking into this and trusting that their funds are safe. And I don't know, I think that says a lot for them. Delegating across over 100 different validators and selecting the best ones, giving you so many different options. It knocks it out of the park, in my opinion. I don't know, what's your take on that?
One thing I wanted to bring up, and maybe I can bring it up to Nikki another time. I was going to kind of compare for the average person out there how there's instant unstaking, native unstaking, versus how a lot of companies will say, okay, here's our staking options, and you've got, I'm just going to say 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, things like that. Okay, so I was going to ask him why some companies do that, even though I know why. But so for the average people out there, what a lot of companies are generally doing is, again, it's all about stability in the network, things like that. But they're also technically wanting those tokens locked up. Like, for example, what I mean by that is
like vesting it in there kind of thing.
Well, and what I mean by it mainly is we're talking about when you stake, let's say it was a Marinade token or something like that.
Right.
And generally speaking, you would like to lock up as many of your company's tokens as possible. You don't want what I mean? However, in this particular case, so my point is that while you run into, that's normally how things are staked. So when you get to stake SOL here at Marinade, my point is that you have full control. And where I'm going with that is, as a trader, that would be the first thing I look for.
As far as reasons and appeal to where you want to put it at.
Because APY, whatever, I mean, that does matter, but I'm not going to worry about 1 to 2%, things like that.
Exactly.
I want control.
Right.
So
that is the biggest differentiator right there. It's you can argue that, but it's splitting hairs. I think at the end of the day, it's what's the trust, reliability, and the bottom line, the control. Is there options for me to DeFi, to loop it? That's a very simple strategy, is reborrow it or reinvest it, whatever you got to do. But the other one, 1 second.
So
to your point,
my point though, I was basically saying, while this is not what everybody talks about in DeFi or staking, I actually personally care a lot about an instant unstake. I want to be able to do what I want with it. If I want to stake for 2 months and then I have a particular reason why I unstake and I use SOL and something else, and then I'm gonna,
Yeah. There's countless things. I mean, for me,
that's what I was getting at.
For me, there's two different things. For regular staking, like, it pisses me off because, like, you miss out on opportunities sometimes. That's just the way it is. Like, you miss out on either cashing out,
you just have to know that that's part of it,
right? So what I say to people is trying to look at the governance tokens as your investment in staking as well, where you're okay with locking this amount of funds up, because with ASR there is a 30-day lockup period for that, but the caveat to that is if you're willing to do this for 30 days every time you vote, there is a pool for that as well. There's a reason to get involved and to take that. Do you hear that static, or is that just
I was just going to ask you,
where's our engineer? What's going on, guy?
I didn't know if that was on your end or what it is. I don't know. Gravy. Oh, there it went.
All right, engineer's back. Thank you, Gravy. We appreciate your work and dedication behind the scenes over here. No, it's definitely lost my train of thought with that one. Yeah. But thanks. Where are we at? We were talking about the reasons to stake, the lockup period. Okay, yeah. So the ASR, it does make sense I think as a company, you want to protect the assets that are in there to do certain things with them. I think Nikki was talking about this on a space before. He was, saying it's your money, you want it. Like, you don't want your stuff locked up. You want access to it. That's the one thing that, with a bank, you do have a little bit of time with some things to get released, but typically you can go and withdraw from a savings account. And that's the difference from most staking ventures is you got a little bit of a cool down period, and that sucks. Like, if you need that bread right now, I mean, there's a lot of things that comes to you could be experienced, or you could be an inexperienced investor and still fall into that situation, because you never know what's going to happen. But having the ability, having that as an option, I think that would be like your point. It would probably swing me to go over to Marinade over something else just because of that.
Well, and I guess for me, I always think of the inexperienced first anyway, because the experienced, we don't need to, I mean, they know what they're doing. So, like, the inexperienced,
you'd hope so.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you could have bad experience and be experienced.
That's true. But normally, so my point is, like, Marinade makes things very easy. Okay. Like I said, again, instant unstake to me is huge, but again, it's just the whole process is nice and easy. You could stake your soul, start earning, because again, even though it feels like I keep saying this about everything, certain portions of your portfolio are for certain things. So for me, the largest portion is usually about growing Solana. So, like, if I'm just constantly trading and growing my Solana, well, then I'm also staking some and then earning more there, things like that. So anyway,
sure.
I'm just saying they make it nice and easy.
Yeah, they definitely they make it, I mean, user friendly. It's something you want. You want to feel like you don't have to learn a bunch. I know the conversation gets a little technical to the newer person, but you can dumb it down. Your funds are safe. You're going to gain rewards. You protect yourself from inflation. That's that. And we've lost Jules, and he's back.
Yeah, sorry. Click the wrong button there.
It is getting to the top of the hour right now, and the only reason I'm saying that is because I would go longer and take a look at charts, but I'm going to get my passport situated today, so I can get myself out to Greece. But if you want to jump on later today on the daily stream, and we can jump into some charts and look at some price action, other markets conversation if you want.
What time are you doing that stream?
When I get back from everything I got going on today. The passport.
Like, not sure yet.
Yeah, sometime later today. I'm not exactly
sure.
We'll
work it out.
But I definitely can reach out to you and see if you're free. We can take a look into that, or maybe jump in tomorrow morning. I don't know what I got going on in the AM.
I could probably. Well, we'll see. We'll see what time it happens today. I might be able to happen today.
We'll play it by ear, but sorry guys if you're staying for the the charts and the rest of this. But the main thing was talking a little bit about Marinade Finance, why it's important for you guys to get a good understanding of what staking is, how to get involved. One thing I would suggest to you guys is take a look at my my profile. Just search up validators, search up Marinade Finance. You see a bunch of posts with educational content. The other thing is get yourselves involved with the Marinade community. It's pinned on my profile. There's a ton of chefs in there. I think we're up to 182 right now, and it's consistently growing. People are constantly posting their favorite things about staking, new things they're learning about staking, different ways to get involved, the bonuses, the different APYs, looping strategies. All of this stuff is covered in there, and not to mention the Zeus network, they have a lot of opportunities as far as BTC Sol as well. So if you got yourself set up with some ZBTC, there's some protocols in DeFi that you definitely need to take advantage of. Anything you want to highlight as far as that, Jules, on your end when it comes to ZBTC?
You threw that in there real quick. Keep in mind, if you're go ahead and look through anything from Apollo and Zeus, you should be seeing. We do have another, or they do have another ZBTC drop coming up. So,
oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's for. Yeah, I'm bullish on that.
All about just creating content.
Is that the Galaxy Quest thing?
Correct. You have to just be in the top 100. Very achievable, and we've seen a lot of people very active on it, and just wanted to point that out for just another Bitcoin summer on Solana thing. There, we got another wave 2 of the Bitcoin drop.
I'm going to push that a little bit harder. Guys, fuck Info5, because that shit is just a pain in the ass. You can actually go talk about something that's going to be here, that has been here, that is going to yield rewards for putting in your work and real effort. I see everybody complaining about the algo. This is the algo. Go talk about quality, conversations and content regarding Zeus, Bitcoin on Sol, and on Galaxy. Get involved there. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. That's my favorite staking strategy, bottom line. Like, I like that one, and I split it with the other one because I'm like, damn, this is nice. Over time, this will really add up. But I think that there's more to come down the pipeline. Gravy, if you want to play that last little commercial from our sponsor as we get out of here, we'll talk more about this on another show. But I don't want to give them all the juice. Gotta let them squeeze some out later. But we'll definitely tap in later. But Grave, if you want to cue that up, we'll get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate all your support, and we'll catch you on the next one. Yes, BTC Sol.